Hey everybody, it's me, Just Keys, back with a brand new video. And today's video, I'm talking about my first time watching Bleach. Now, bear with me because I'm going to ramble. I'm going to pronounce words wrong, and I'm probably going to lose my track of mind. So I'm going to try to keep this at like 10 minutes. So apologize if I go over. But anyways, getting into the show, I have to say I really enjoyed it. I love all the characters. My favorite being Chad. Um, and I kind of like uh, Urahara too. I think he's really cool. Um, action's great. That's great, and also the pacing is really phenomenal because I was kind of worried that it was gonna feel slow, and it really doesn't. The first three episodes kind of set up everything and all that. Now what is Bleach about? If you're wondering. If you clicked on this video, and you never watched Bleach like me, well, Bleach is an anime that started back in 2004, right? And it aired till I think it aired till like 2012, or I want to say it might end up maybe a little bit earlier than that. And then they recently just brought it back because they never adapted the last arc in the manga for it, so it has been brought back. But yeah, I'm watching watching it from like the very beginning, right? Excuse me. So, Bleach is basically about this 15-year-old boy named Ichigo, high schooler, lives with his dad and his two sisters. They run like this medical clinic, and he can see spirits. And he meets this girl Rukia, who is a Soul Reaper, and she basically Soul Reaper is basically like a spiritual being that when somebody dies, a Soul Reaper kind of helps them move on and everything. But their other job is to take care of what's known as hollows. And a hollow is basically a human soul that when they passed on, if they didn't like move on or if they got stuck or something, a lot of different things, they basically turn into this monstrous creature, right? um, and terrorize humanity, right? And they're basically spiritual beings, so like nobody can see them except like a few people with high spiritual energy. And the Soul Reaper's job is basically like to not kill them, but basically they do fight them. But they have these swords called I think they're called Zenbakus, and these swords can be used to kind of like help the hollow energy like move on basically. um I know I'm not doing it justice, but it's like a really cool thing, and the show is really cool too, and the action is just great. I really love like all the sword fights and stuff. There's even one character, man, I can't remember off the top of my head. So there's Soul Reapers, and there's this other group called Quincy's, and they kill hollows. They just kill them straight up, and they have these cool like spiritual like bow and arrows that they can summon with their spiritual energy and everything. And there's unfortunately they were wiped out, and there's a Quincy that's living in the same town as Ichigo and everything, and they sort of become friends slash rivals, which is really cool, and I can wait to see more of that. And also, all right, so Reaper's Quincy's. What does that have to do with Ichigo? So, Rukia ends up having to transfer almost all of her powers to Ichigo because there's a hollow attack in his house coming after his sisters and him because they have high spiritual energy. And Rukia ends up getting severely injured, so she passes on her power, her cerebral powers, to Ichigo, and um, because of that, she ends up like in a weakened state. So she has to take on like a human form now, and she tells them, you have to be my substitute because I have a job to do, right? But I'm too weak to do it. So you have to help me out here. So Ichigo he agrees, and that kind of starts. he starts doing jobs as a Soul Reaper, and then we have like characters like Orihime and Chad, who are two of Ichigo's classmates, who are also kind of like developing things like Orihime. She has a whole like mini arc involving her brother becoming a Hollow, and Ichigo um, helping him and everything. And she starts to kind of set spirits, and then she gets like abilities later on in the arc. And then Chad, like I think I mentioned Chad's one of my favorite characters so far, and he uh he also starts to like set spirits. One of the episodes involves him uh getting this bird that has the soul of like a little boy that passed, like trapped inside it, and there's this hollow that's terrorizing it and stuff and everything. And Chad starts to get the ability to sense spirits, like to sense them, but he can't see them, right? And there's a whole bunch like other characters. There's this character that's what's known as a mod soul, and basically what it is a mod soul is this little like almost like a piece of green candy, right? And Ichigo, when he goes into the Soul Reaper duties, he actually leaves his body. Like his spirit leaves his body, so he can fight the Hollows and all that, right? And so when he does that, his regular body's like his body's just like because his soul's not in it anymore, right? So they end up getting these things on his muscle, and they find one, and it ends up it's supposed to be like he's supposed to take it, and it's supposed to just like act like him, right? You know, but they find a defective one, and it ends up being this little pervy character that eventually they get out of Chico's body, and they put it inside a stuffed lion, and so and they name him Cone, and he's your typical pervy anime character, right? You know, you know, and we got those characters introduced, and so now and Ichigo, what he does is whenever he needs to use a cone, he'll just like stick his hand in the lion's mouth, the stuffed lion's mouth, the plush lion's mouth, pull out the piece of candy, take it, and then like pops out, cone pops in, and then after that they just kind of reverse it. There's a way they get the candy out, which is that or her guy has like the stab, which you can just like push the candy out using a staff. But I think there's other ways to do it too. I'm not sure. Um, and that's kind of like how they can like do things while people like you know people like walking around like why is Ichigo just like laying on the ground? What the hell? You know, to keep suspicions low. Um, so the first arc, Ichigo takes over as Source Dude. He's dealing with all these hollows. Finds out his mom was killed by a hollow. And then come to find out, Rukia, since she's been in human form too long, basically, and hasn't reported back to the Soul Society, um, she's in trouble. So her brother and this guy named Renji come after her, and they end up taking her back to society to be executed, basically. So then, towards like the end of this arc, Ichigo starts training with Urahara to become an actual Soul Reaper, and so that's where I've ended it so far. I've finished watching the first arc. Really, I'm surprised I didn't get into this when it was airing. I've really been enjoying it. Making this video was really, I'm gonna be honest, making this video was kind of hard. I've stopped and started several times because I wasn't really sure. Like, I'm talking about like an old show, right? Like an old anime that probably a bunch of you have seen, almost all of you have seen, right? And there's the Thousand Year War anime that's going on right now. Um, and eventually, when I get to that, I will do a video on that. But for right now, I'm gonna enjoy these earlier arcs. Um, if you guys want to hear like my thoughts and opinions on like the next arc, I will do a video on that. I really enjoyed this first arc so far. It was really good. I usually the first arc in an anime is typically I find to be pretty decent. It's like introducing things, right? Um, but anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Um, if you did, please leave a like, drop a comment down below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Love you guys.